So just to start, thank you for chatting with us today. Uh,
Pleasure.
Going back to the start of the show, do you remember what you were initially told about the character of Nathan?
Yeah, it was very clear that what Taylor wanted was an oil and gas attorney who was very, straight
Mhm.
and got the job done and was prepared to work under the weird circumstances of essentially a frat house
Mhm.
on a 2 week or 3 week on, 3 week off kind of operation, so that we would all be there close to the business
Mhm.
and then go off to our home.
Yeah, so last season of Landman ends with a beaten up Tommy and the death of Monty. How does this set up the storyline for season two?
Well, Monty was a player. He was a real gambler. And he did things that none of us were really aware of. And so, in terms of the business, he would say, "Hey, guys, write this contract, do this deal, send the paperwork." We do exactly as we were told.
Mhm.
Problem was, he was playing fast and loose. I mean, listen, there's a line that Billy Bob has as Tommy
Mhm.
that says, listen, you got to know the rules to bend them, and you got to really know them to break them. And so we're trying to figure out how far Monty went in the bending and the breaking of the rules because we have to answer for it. We have to explain where the company is. How is it going to survive? Where's the money? And so there's a lot. The second season involves a lot of investigation and digging into what the heck was going on here.
Mhm.
How did this work? And how is it we were, you know, essentially complicit in this and didn't know it because he was so slick, he was so clever, he was so smart.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. So last time we even see Nate, he and Tommy are talking about Rebecca possibly taking over legal matters and stuff. In this new season, will we see more tension between Nate and Rebecca as they differ so much morally?
Yeah, I'm afraid we will. I mean, part of the problem with this is, and it's a wonderful setup from Taylor Sheridan.
Mhm.
You've got a guy who's been steaming along in his career. It's been going great. He's obviously close to being done, or maybe not, but he could be. And into this is thrown, not only a very smart and very accomplished and very clever, but beautiful young woman who is, I'm sure, less than half his age, that his boss now says, you're taking orders from her now.
Mhm.
And it's a lot to swallow for a guy of a certain age. And, they thought, I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. I've told my wife this is what to expect. We'll be on a cruise before you know it. And suddenly his world is upside down because of this very brilliant young woman. And part of Nathan's problem is he recognizes how brilliant she is,
Mhm.
right? So he goes, she's not wrong. She's
Mhm.
pretty cool. And she's doing what we need to do to keep the business afloat. So let's all get on side and play for the team. And that's what Tommy encourages us to do. And that's what Nathan decides finally, okay, I'll do what you need. But yeah, there's some resentment. There's a fear of, feeling of betrayal. There's a little bit of, are you sure you are, what you're asking me to do here? But okay, for you, I will. And that's how we're going to move forward.
Mhm. For sure, because even last season, I feel like Nate was very much the level-headed one in all of this chaos. Will we see him kind of reach a turning point of wanting to put his foot down, or just kind of fully going over to?
Well, I mean, this is the challenge that is Nate. He's forever putting his foot down, and
Yeah.
people keep stepping on it
Mhm.
because they go, "Oh yeah, nice foot down," but guess what, dude? No, we're moving this way. We're doing that, and so
Mhm.
he's well. Listen, wait a minute. That's not quite okay. Fine, right? So there's an awful lot of compromise that
Mhm.
he has to make. But where I think he is valuable in the scheme of the storyline and the narrative is that he asks a lot of the questions I think the audience is asking. Like, isn't this crazy? Is it just me, or is this a bit weird? Or is this out of the ordinary? Or is this dangerous? Or, God forbid, illegal?
Mhm.
What's happening here? And I think that the audience can see through Nate's eyes and say, you know what? if I were in his position, I'd be asking the same questions. Why is your ex-wife living with us? And why doesn't your daughter go to school? I mean, dude, this is where we work.
Mhm.
But obviously, it's more dramatic and more interesting if everything gets messed up.
Oh yeah, kind of even with that, the friendship between Billy, Dale, and Nate is such a beloved factor of the show.
Yeah.
What can fans expect from the trio this season?
Oh my gosh. Well, of course, me and Dale are the Stadler and Waldorf Muppets of the show, especially at the dinner table,
Mhm.
constantly commenting, well, it seems it's like a medium show. What? A medium show? Yeah, it's not rare and it's not well done. And so we have these little asides that just go, I don't think these people like each other. No, I don't think so either. It seems like, oh, what's going on? And so we get to tell some of the truth and so, what I think is some of the audience's truth. And then we look to Tommy going, did we misunderstand something? And he has to explain, yeah, dude, listen, when she's in this part of her cycle, don't speak.
Mhm.
What do you mean? No, no, don't speak. I might risk it, but you see how it ends for me.
Mhm.
You should shut up. And so we're just like, and you can see there are moments in these dinner scenes that I just adore where it's established, there's a shot, somebody's coming in the door, Angela goes to welcome them, and you pan over, and there's Nathan sitting like the dog,
Oh yeah.
just ready. He just told, it's dinner time, sit down. Okay. And he sits down. He doesn't ask any questions. He just behaves. And I think that's adorable. And I think it's his way of coping. This is a woman, I mean, let's be clear. And I think Taylor has a lot of fun with this. Angela is the kind of woman that Nate has never met,
Oh yeah.
never interacted with, never, never, probably never even seen.
Mhm.
Right? And so that Tommy can handle her like, yeah, 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 it's all juggling and it's all fine. He's been married to her before. Nathan doesn't even comprehend
Mhm.
how any of this works. And so essentially, she's like the lion tamer. When she cracks the whip, he just goes, oh, yeah, okay, fine. Which way do I look? And he's almost like a golden retriever. This season, I think you'll find he is a little braver. He's a little more willing to challenge and go, but hang on a minute. Can I just ask a question? And of course, that never ends well, but it's worth a try.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun to see because you, like you were kind of mentioning, you always have such funny lines, like even one-liners that just get so
Oh, yeah.
quoted and memorable. Do you have a personal favorite from
Have you
season
seen
one?
anything yet?
I have not from this.
Okay.
I
Well,
know.
okay. Well, on Sunday night,
Hmm.
we have the premiere
Hmm.
of the first episode, November 16th. I don't know if I'm apparently it's playing from 3 in the morning all through the day, so it'll cycle through. But there is a moment, and I will spoiler alert it because you'll all forget.
Oh yeah.
There's a moment, as you know, I've been very keen for people to get out of our house dash office and move into their own homes and just
Yeah.
be normal people. And at one point in episode one, Angela says, we're looking for a realtor in
Mhm.
Fort Worth. And I'm thinking of this guy. I go, you're looking for a realtor? That guy? Why? Well, because I'm buying a house in Fort Worth. And my character, Nathan, looks straight ahead and just says, thank you, Jesus. Just quietly to
Mhm.
himself, oh my gosh, my problems are over. Everything is solved. She's buying a house in Fort Worth. The kid is going to
Mhm.
school in Fort Worth. We're off the hook. Oh, my stars. Oh, this is a brand new day. This is a happy
Yeah.
new year for me. Now, needless to say, it doesn't quite work out that way.
But just a moment of relief for him
Oh
to
my God,
imagine.
it's heaven. It is, let's
Mhm.
face it, an answered prayer. And,
Mhm.
and Nate is a pretty straight guy. He's a pretty
Mhm.
straightforward Christian guy. And when he says thank you, Jesus,
He
he means
means it.
means it.
So, of course, this show is filled with so many notable and iconic people, from Demi Moore to, of course, Billy Bob. Sam Elliott joins this season. Did you get to film any scenes with him?
I filmed with everybody. I've been very fortunate. I was with Andy Garcia, who's amazing, with whom I was with years ago in a Sidney Lumet picture about 30 years ago. And to see him again was glorious. Sam Elliott is one of the most delightful human beings going next to Billy Bob. And they are old friends. So that relationship just clicked in seamlessly as they let the clutch out on their old friendship. Demi is amazing. She's playing the boss of the company, so she's our boss. So obviously she's got a lot of responsibility, but we have to interact with her and we have to please her. We have to answer her questions. We have to do what's what. And so consequently, I mean, Taylor has been so clever about interweaving all of the storylines, even if it's family,
Mhm.
it ends up dovetailing with business. So you think, oh, it's just families, and it's going to be these m multiple separate stories. Taylor's managed to kind of shuffle this deck
Mhm.
in a way that makes all of us intertwined.
Mhm.
Nobody is outside the adventure. We are all offering a little, fractal of what the hell is going on here. And until you have all the pieces, you don't know what's going on here.
And that's the brilliant part about this show, because I remember watching last season. I just kept watching. Because I watched it a little bit later. My mom finally got me into it. I
Oh,
watched the
good.
entire season in one
I,
sitting.
I
I was
thank
like,
you,
I have to
Mom.
keep going.
I thank your mom. But
Yeah.
what she cottoned onto and what you finally grasped is one of Taylor's brilliant, you know, the parts of his genius are he writes scenes that make you say, what's next?
Mhm.
What's next? My wife put it very well as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
She said he writes a cliffhanger in every scene.
Mhm.
So there's always, hey, yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. What was
No,
that?
I
I'll come
want to get,
back.
no, get back to that.
Mhm.
I want to, what's going on there?
Mhm.
And then, of course, with the next scene, he's only adding a layer that will add complexity when you get back to that place you just left.
Mhm.
And that's really fun. And it's really fun as actors to work on that kind of stuff because you know that everything you do,
Mhm.
even if it's just one line here, two lines there, it's adding a layer of interest and
Mhm.
complexity to what the audience is experiencing. And that's really fun.
No, it's amazing. I'll never forget watching the first episode. My mom kept texting me like, "Okay, are you there yet? Did it happen?" I'm like, "Did what happen?" And then it happened.
Oh,
They're
no, no,
like,
no.
"No, I've got to
Well,
watch the
listen,
next one."
will you guys watch Sunday night together or like Sunday
Mhm.
night together in
Oh
the
yeah,
park and
together.
go,
Mhm.
okay, text you. Yeah. No, no, I'm
Yeah,
there. I'm there. Should we
yeah,
watch that again? Yes, we
yeah.
should.
No, it's gonna be beautiful chaos. So what do you think
That's
it
a
is
that's a
about
very good way of describing the
it
show.
is beautiful chaos? What do you think it is about Landman that has made it such like a fast fan favorite?
I think there's a bunch of things. First of all, it's really exciting. It's sexy, it's dangerous, it's violent, it's explosive, but it's also funny.
Mhm.
And at the foundation, like at the center core of it, it's family.
Mhm.
Tommy Norris, Billy Bob, comes home to, after a day of disaster, he comes home to calamity and catastrophe
Mhm.
and thinks, I don't know how I'm going to cope. What my life is just hell. And everybody at our audience goes, I have days like that. I
Mhm.
have days where my day is so bad, and my wife and my children have, how was your day? You don't want to know how my day was. Just give me the fucking dinner and let's move on to something else. No, we really want to, you really want to know? Okay, here's the bit about my hemorrhoids. Oh, maybe we didn't want to know. And so suddenly, I think the entire world who are part of families went, that's my life. I
Yeah.
have a tough job. I work real hard. I want to succeed, but I also want to go home to some peace and quiet
Mhm.
and love and affection. And what do I get? Chaos.
Chaos. That's the perfect way to put it.
Chaos.
So you yourself have such have well, sorry, you have had such an established and celebrated career. What does it mean to you to still bring such life to monumental and beloved characters?
Hmm, that's the job.
Mhm.
That is the job. Showing up, bringing everything you know from everything you've done to what they're asking for. So, whatever Taylor wants from me, in order to come and show up on the set and do it, I look at everything I've ever done, theater, film, television, radio, books on tape, voiceover, whatever it is I've done. How does any of that factor into what he needs right now? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I have all of that resource to draw on. And I know my job. I've looked at the script. I know what he needs. I ask him what he needs. You
Mhm.
know, in our first season, he wrote every episode, he produced every episode, he directed the first two. So if I had a question, I could just say, what are you looking for? What do
Mhm.
you want? And then his surrogate directors, Stephen Kay, our genius director of all 10 episodes on season two, I could say to him, what do you want? And what do you think Taylor wants? And he said, Taylor and I have talked. I want you to do this. And I knew it was from both of them. And so then you come and you just serve up that moment, that little thing that is required. And
Mhm.
you go home secure in the knowledge that you have played your part, that you've done everything you could do to move our story forward, you know, so the narrative moves forward, the characters grow and develop, and it's just fun. And that is the sum total of our, you know, lifetime of careers. And when we were at the premiere in New York the other day, it was immense,
Mhm.
amazing. They took over Alice Tully Hall. They took over Manhattan. We took over whole hotels and just put everybody in. 1,000 people showed up. Thousands more showed up on the street. They loved the show. Why? Because somehow it speaks to them as a family, as workers, as people struggling through to make the best of their lives and the best of their lives for their children and grandchildren, etc. You know, something about that just made sense to people. And Taylor, again, his genius is tapping into that. I'm sure he's just drawing on himself and saying, what do I care about? What do I love? What do I want? What makes me
Mhm.
happy? And then he just writes that.
Oh, yeah.
And we show up and articulate it.
And you guys all capture magic together. Like you
Well, you know,
really translate to
well,
people.
we're very lucky that we're with such wonderful people. I
Mhm.
mean, we've got wonderful actors.
Mhm.
We're led by Billy Bob, who is immensely professional, terribly gracious and kind and supportive. Add Sam to that, and to me and Andy, Allie and Jacob and Michelle and James and Mike and Mustafa. Everybody is so good
Mhm.
that you all feel, we all feel, certainly led by Billy Bob, we got to come with our A game immediately, right? There's no chance to warm up to this. Billy's got more to do than any of us. So if we're not ready to match his level of professionalism and generosity, we're way behind
Mhm.
and we're in trouble. And so consequently, the entire cast feels like that. And so they're always ready.
Mhm.
That means the scenes are always shootable from 1,000 different angles because the director goes, oh, everybody's ready. I can do whatever I need to tell this story.
Mhm.
And, you know, I won't be shy. We're all a little bit proud of that. You know, we're pleased with ourselves that we are stepping up to
Mhm.
that level of professionalism to make sure that Taylor has everything he needs to make the show he imagined.
Yeah, and that really comes through because I feel like some shows you need a few episodes, like as the viewer, to warm up to it.
Yeah.
From the first 5 minutes, you're just like, okay, what is this show? And you're just
No,
into
absolutely.
it, and every
Well,
moment counts.
wait till you see
I,
the
yeah,
first 5 minutes of season two.
I cannot
It's
wait to imagine. Yeah.
it's absolutely heaven, and it essentially sets the tone. This is where we're headed.
Mhm.
This is what's going to happen. Though right now nothing seems to be happening.
Mhm.
It's gentle, and it's clear, and it's Billy, Billy, Billy. It's heaven,
I can't
heaven.
wait for it. Kind of to pivot a little bit, what have been some of your other personal favorite projects that you've worked on? One of our
Oh my
personal favorites is the Umbrella Academy over
Oh
here.
my gosh. Yeah, no, listen. I have been extremely fortunate, very, very lucky. I started a career in the theater where I played everything great Shakespearean classical parts, you name it, I've played it. King Lear, Macbeth, Romeo, Hamlet, you name it.
Mhm.
And that was a remarkable foundation for doing film and television. And the Umbrella Academy was so cool
Mhm.
because it was obviously a little bit wild and refined with my Sir Reginald Hargreaves
Mhm.
being very particular. And many of the people who had built my costumes in the Stratford Festival here in Canada, which were extraordinarily sophisticated, were hired to build the costumes for Umbrella. So everything I was wearing was handmade
Mhm.
for me. And so consequently, I felt a responsibility to make sure that our brilliant Alexa 65 cameras
Mhm.
captured it. So you will, if you look closely at Umbrella, you'll see there are moments where, for no reason at all, I turn around and open my jacket to show you that the lining is 15 layers of silk
Wow.
in different colors, right? And so, that's really cool. And I think it's cool that, artists know how to do that, but also respect the people from every department.
Mhm.
Right. Here in Stratford, we call them the thread fairies.
Mhm.
They're the geniuses who were in the basement for 100 hours building an Elizabethan collar.
Oh, yeah.
100 hours? And they said, yeah, but look, when you walk on stage, there's no set. This is a thrust theater, so it's a
Mhm.
thrust. You're standing here, alone in front of the, 2,000 people in the audience.
Mhm.
That collar tells half the story. It's all about that, the costume. And so I've always felt, because I started here, at 20 years old, I've always felt a responsibility to feature all of that stuff. And so when you get a show like Umbrella that is actually beautifully about that, as
Mhm.
well as everything else, you just count your blessings and think how lucky you are. And
Mhm.
I have all these things that I've been doing. I realize now awkwardly over my shoulder, you can see a bust of me.
I was wondering at some
He
points.
hasn't he hasn't gone back yet. We got back from a trip and my wife said, and it was on Halloween. She said, we still got to do Halloween. So go buy some candy. And I said, well, what am I going to do to scare the children?
Mhm.
And so I put him out with some hats on.
Mhm.
He's a bust of me from a Stephen King thing I did called Storm of the Century. But then up where you can't see behind me, I've got my severed head, some isolated body parts, arms. So I started putting all of those out at the backyard
Oh,
and I
that's too fun.
at the back door. And the severed head was particularly good. It's my homage to Richard Dreyfuss and Jaws
Mhm.
because we have a porthole window
Mhm.
at the
Oh, that's
back.
that's
And so
amazing.
I put the head in the porthole window. Just like, when he's underwater, if you remember the movie, he's floating around, checking things out, and there's a boat and he bunks it, and then the guy's head floats into view. So I put the head there. And occasionally I'd have to go to the door with a bag of candy and point, for the 6-year-olds,
Oh, to see,
there's
to
the
look.
severed head. That's me. Uh, that just frightened people. My wife thought it was super creepy, but then that's what Halloween is all about. And so forgive me, that's that
Oh
guy
no,
back
it's
there,
fun.
we call him Pinhead. And the reason we call him Pinhead is because I send him for wig fittings. I'm as bald as he is, but I send him in to have wigs and beards. So for example,
It's honestly very smart to do.
for the Umbrella Academy, I
Mhm.
wore goatees and wigs, and I sent him in to my wig maker to build the wigs and
Mhm.
things on. The one mistake I made, which is why I have the severed head up on the shelves, is that one show I was doing called Lies My Mother Told Me with Jolie Richardson years ago. She killed my character and he was thrown into a river. And they said, well, we're going to need to do a body cast or a head cast of you
Mhm.
to throw your body into the river. But they were in Calgary, which is miles away from here. So I said, you know what? I don't want to come there and I'll save you some money. And I FedExed them Pinhead. So that was all fine. They go, oh, wow, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Cut to the moment in the middle of the night where we throw my body with my sewn on head into the river.
Mhm.
And he looks younger and healthier. and happier than me.
Oh no.
What the heck is going on? I then suddenly realized that Pinhead was a mold taken about 30 years ago.
Oh.
And so I looked way more attractive
Mhm.
dead than I did alive in that show. And I've learned my lesson. I now no longer send Pinhead to do my
To do
work.
the official stuff, you have to go in for that. That's too funny. And then, what would you like to say to fans and supporters of you and your work?
Well, listen, thank you for watching. I'm very, very grateful. My family is grateful. My children are grateful. But I also hope that you will find something gratifying personally and familially about the work we're doing now. Landman is all about family. It's all about family, hard work, tough choices, and just getting through. And we all have to do that. And so I am enormously grateful that people are interested and are watching. And, listen, if you can find me and you don't like it, I will give you your money back.